Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to a video episode of Poddywood. I am one of your co-hosts, Steve Hester, and joining me as always is...
That'd be me, Andrew Roger Carson, joining you in the late hours here in the UK. And also joining us from over in New York, it's our regular favorite, Jonas Barnes. How you doing, buddy?
How's it going, you guys? I'm doing good, man. Just got off work. Just had a wonderful day yesterday of watching some horror for October. So yeah, I'm doing good today, man.
Well, if you can't watch horror in October, then when can you? It's the perfect time to do it.
I mean, listen, anybody that's not well versed in horror already, they should always take October to really school themselves on the genre.
Yeah, and for anyone that wants to get themselves into this genre, then there's always Hocus Pocus on Disney Plus.
Unless you're from Texas, apparently. Like this Texas mum who's basically said, oh, they could be throwing out loads of these subliminal spells to our children. Do not watch this movie. And it's like, I don't know what subscription to Disney Plus you're on, but I want that shit.
Okay, listen, if you don't think that Disney is already indoctrinating children and they haven't been doing that since the beginning of fucking time, come on. Like, that's Hocus Pocus 2 is not going to be the one that does that. I reviewed a movie with one of my friends called The Black Cauldron. Have you guys seen that?
Yes.
We love that movie.
Dude, that's a horror film. Like, that is a animated horror cartoon that Disney totally made. And me and my friend reviewed that and we're like, yo, this movie is dark. Like, you think Hocus Pocus 2 is teaching kids? No. Like, Black Cauldron and Return to Oz. Those two. Those are the two.
Oh, yeah.
Return
to Oz was just...
Those are the Disney horror films.
Yeah.
That was the year Don Bluth was just like, fuck all these kids. You're going to fire me? Well, I got secret anim in the ammo tank. I'm going to traumatize these bastards forever.
I just love that Return to Oz. They were just like, you know what? We're going to electroshock therapy Dorothy immediately. We're not no lube whatsoever. We're going dry into this movie and we're just going to terrorize children immediately. And then when she gets to Oz, she has all these nightmare demons that have like rollerblade feet and shit. It's just like, what are you doing? This is a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. It's crazy.
Last, I think it was last week, I mentioned that John Barrowman, who was in Torchwood and Doctor Who and everything, was he was an extra in The Untouchables. One of the guys that hosted a kids TV program called Blue Peter in the UK was one of the Wheelies.
Oh yeah, dude.
I can't remember who it was. It was someone in the early 80s, and he was coming onto the show, and he had like the outfit, but without the main costume on. It was just kind of like the technical aspects, like the wheel that he held onto or whatever it was that he was doing. And it was showing the kids, yeah, I do this in the movie. And then you go see the movie. It's like, oh my God.
The wheelies are terrifying.
Yeah.
Like to this day, like I know people that talk about that movie and they're like, dude, the wheelies, like every time.
Yeah. Yeah. The 80s just fucked us up. And if there's something that fucked us up even worse, it's probably the mid 90s, which kind of is the reason why we're all here today, because I threw out to you guys that there was a movie that existed in 1996 called Day of the Warrior, an Andy Sidaris Lethal Ladies classic that I caught on Channel 5 TV in the late 90s and could not stop watching. And it was an all new era of incredibly bad but brilliant movie making. So I basically asked you two to go and watch this movie over the last week. And I know Jonas had better things to do, like nearly kill yourself.
Pretty much.
And Steve had pretty much something like better to do, like want to kill himself.
Yeah.
After watching Day of the Warrior with kids around. That's just wrong, Steve. That's just wrong.
I would rather change the shittiest of diapers than watch that movie anymore. Like, seriously.
It's one of those movies that as soon as it started, I was just howling with laughter right from the very beginning. It could have even have gone worse as far as I was concerned. I was just enjoying laughing at the sheer crappiness of it.
You know, the thing about it is this movie was, do you guys remember, I don't know if you guys had this in the UK, but we had on the USA Network in like the late 90s and mid to late 90s, they had Up All Night with Rhonda Shear.
I know who Rhonda Shear is, but we didn't have the show.
Okay, so Up All Night with Rhonda Shear was literally a show that would start at like 11:30 or so. It was usually right after WWF Raw. So like you'd have wrestling, and then some weeks you would have La Femme Nikita, which was totally just, fucking basically what this movie is, just in TV form. But then sometimes you would have, I think it was like I want to say it was the last week of every month, you would have Rhonda Shear show that was called Up All Night with Rhonda Shear. And what it was is she would come out, low cut top, doing like the busty bimbo thing that she did. And she would present this movie that was usually like Day of the Warrior. So it was one of these movies that was just schlock and cheese and tits and guns and like just everything. And one of the stars of the movie was a pretty regular star in the movies on the show, Julia Strain.
Yes, Willow Black herself.
Yeah.
Okay, so in all the talking points about this movie, because there are so many, and none of them are positive, really. But let's just get this out there. Okay, these guys are actually taking this movie seriously.
Do you think they are, though?
Yeah.
It's so much better for it.
Do you think they are taking it seriously, though? I mean, maybe they are. I don't know.
They have to be. They have to be, because you've got people there that were like adult film stars and bikini models and so on, and they're coming onto this set and they're trying their best to be as serious as possible, thinking, okay, this may be my big break into actual legitimate cinema. They don't know what the finished product's going to be like. And they're delivering some, like the guy who's playing I can't remember half of the bloody code names, but you meet him when he's on the plane at the beginning.
Is this the guy who is the rare mix of Tom Cruise from Top Gun mixed with Lenny Von Dolan?
Yeah, with a sprinkling of David Duchovny in there as well.
Yes.
He's so bad. And it looks like they've just plucked him straight out of a modeling academy, because he looks relatively decent in terms of a chiseled jaw. They haven't bothered to check and see whether or not he's got any kind of skills in terms of, measuring a performance or understanding the role, or in any way being able to adopt the Stanislavski technique. No, he got it because he looks like an action hero in some bizarre way.
He looks like one of those dudes that would be cast in like a G.I. Joe movie, but it would be one of the G.I. Joes that you forgot existed, that just hangs out in the background and shoots a gun every now and then. Because like you know what I mean? Like you're too busy paying attention to like Duke and Baroness and shit. And there's just some random dude in the background that's just like, oh, I killed a cobra. Yay. Like he looks like one of those dudes. Like be like, I believe he might be a G.I. Joe. I believe that.
He might be one of those later models that came out where it was obviously all of the extra parts that were left over in the factory. And they were like, we're going to make this super soldier out of all of this random shit that we can find.
Actually, that movie was called Universal Soldier, and it's an entire franchise.
Yes.
However, those toys were made just before Street Fighter the movie was made as well.
Oh, God. We're going to sig into every other movie.
Yeah.
But let's just say here, the first thing that jumped into mind when I was watching this movie happens within the first couple of minutes, where your basic Flash Gordon knockoff, Doc, whatever his name is, drives a Jeep into a forest, a white Jeep into a forest to find a villain's lair, and he parks it practically about 10 steps away from the lair behind one bush.
It's the fact that Jeep's supposed to be in the middle of Texas as well.
Yeah. And not only that, the villain's lair is basically 4 pieces of wood propped up against each other.
It's a shed.
Well, sure. Dude, it's not even a shed, dude. It's like that plywood that you just find. Nobody knows where you buy that plywood. You just find it in dumps. Like that's all it is. It's a weird plywood that has like the writing and shit on the side. You're like, I think a contractor uses this. I'm not sure. I don't even know where they get this. It's like, it's one of those Home Depot things where like you go to like the deepest, darkest corner, the Beyond section of Home Depot, and you find that shitty plywood. That's like, don't buy this. It's like $1 a square foot. It's terrible. Like, just don't buy it at all. They're like, no, dude, we're gonna make a villain lair out of it. It's gonna be fucking sweet.
Yeah.
It's when he actually kicks him through it, and this is the floppiest like wood you have ever seen, but it manages to knock this guy out. And the slow-mo of him going through there just makes it so perfect.
It's the IKEA version of a villain's lair. It's the discount version. It has no stability whatsoever.
And there's also,
I was going to say, considering how flimsy the whole thing is, it explodes really nicely when he decides that he wants to blow the damn thing up about 10 seconds later.
This thing was coated in about 50 cans of nitrous oxide.
Dude, this scene specifically, like the exploding villain shed, it reminds me of when a Michael Bay movie throws in explosions that shouldn't explode. You know what I mean? Like there was a movie he did on Netflix called Six Underground, which is if you could put a blueprint of a Michael Bay movie, it would be Six Underground. Like there's a dude that sprints down the side of a building when he's not attached to like a rope or anything. Like he just fucking sprints down the side of this building. It's like, all right. But he drove a car into a fruit stand, and the fruit stand exploded into sparks, and the car was just fine. Like, so I'm looking at it going like, was this like, were they selling apples and explosives? Like, what is going on here? Why are there that? And that's what happened with this villain shed too. It's just like, how much shit did you have in there to make it explode like that?
All he had was a wooden table and a whip.
Right. Where did you hide it? Where did you hide the stuff? Like, and I do love the bush. I love the fact that they put a bush there in front of that Jeep just to like, that's where I don't know if they were fully taking the movie seriously, because they were just like, we're going to put this bush here. We got to try. Like, we got to try to make this look like he's trying to hide the Jeep behind something like a shrub. We're going to put a shrub.
Yeah, I was kind of amazed at the fact that he goes to the back and starts taking out these guns and loading them for what feels like 10 minutes.
And he doesn't use any of them either.
He uses the dart gun, which gives the absolute trademarked dart gun slap and to the left.
Yeah, if anyone doesn't know what I mean, this is what it's like. It's like, it's holding it in between your fingers.
Oh, those dart guns, yes.
Yeah.
The ones that kids would buy.
Yes.
Where you have to like, and they weren't even sharp. They just had a dull edge to them. Like, and yeah, they were like toys.
We kind of stepping over the fact that that is the second scene though of the movie. The first scene is basically boobs.
Okay, well listen, if you're gonna start a movie like this, you're gonna start this movie, yeah, you got to grease everybody up with some titties in the beginning, because if you don't, they're not going to sit through the rest of the movie. They're going to tune out immediately if you don't give them something because listen, everybody likes boobs. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's straight, gay, male, female, either. Like, it doesn't matter. Trans, like all of them. Every single person in the world cheers when tits come on the screen. It does every time. You put those in the beginning, they're going to sit for the rest of the movie and be like, when are those coming back?
Yeah, but it was the following shot where, after going from the woman in the incredibly low cut dress to then go see her boss,
Tiger, played by Shay Marks.
Tiger
is trying. She is trying, bless her. She is really trying her best, working in the very subtly labeled computer room.
Oh,
she basically sits in there typing stuff onto. I don't ever remember any computer screen ever looking like that in my growing up. But then she walks into the room of Julie Strain, and her regular office attire while working on a skiing machine is amazing.
It's a leopard print leotard.
Well, yeah. Isn't that how you guys sit in the office? Just strap on the leopard print leotard. Listen, Julia Strain I love her because she'll fucking do anything. Well, she like when she was making movies, she was down to do anything, whether it was one of these types of movies or whether it was Vampirella or whether it was a Skinamax movie or whether it was just whatever. Like, she didn't give a fuck. She'll do anything. And this movie is right up her alley. It's cheesy, and it's like, cheesy is an understatement. This movie is like cheese to the. It's one of those movies. Like I know it came out in '96. It does not feel like it came out in '96.
No.
This feels like an '80s cheesy movie. Like at best, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I know it's that Julie Strain spends a good amount of this movie just growling at people.
I'm cool with that.
I'm 100%. Is she going to turn into the She-Hulk at any point in this? Because the build is there, she's got the hair, and she's got probably about the acting ability of She-Hulk.
Okay, so listen, that's the thing about Julia Strain. Like, I know I just talked up her praises and everything because she'll do whatever the fuck she wants, but an actress, she is not. She like, and I don't mean that in any disrespectful way whatsoever. I think that she always knew what her wheelhouse was, and it was not deep philosophical acting. It was not that at all. She looks like she got shot in the face with pomade, and her hair just stuck that way for her entire career. Like it just was like this is just what I'm gonna look like forever. Like just what it's gonna be.
Before we kind of get into this, can either of you take a wild stab in the dark about what the plot of this movie is? Because 10 minutes in, I'd already forgotten what the plot was.
No.
It was basically Mission Impossible with boobs.
It's very rude to Mission Impossible to say that because this movie was not even the same. But yeah, also you're kind of right.
It was about spies that have been compromised, and someone who definitely wasn't a bad guy at any single point in the film and wasn't in any way obvious that he was going to turn out to be the bad guy, stole them.
Yeah.
Okay, so this movie plot wise actually feels like it was one of those movies that was made like for Skinamax in the 90s, where they took like kind of like the Asylum does with blockbusters and they make mockbusters. Skinamax would make movies out of shows and they would just put it like a sexy name. So like this would be the Double D team instead of the A team. You know, like it's something like that. Like it would be that type of shit. Instead of MASH, it would be Smash. You know what I mean? Like just that's kind of what this movie felt like. It felt like a military, like Glambo. It would be Glambo, like something like that.
It does feel like a softcore porn film with a little bit more budget and far less porn.
It does. It has that same feel. Like, and I'm not saying that necessarily as a bad thing, because if you're going to make a movie on a smaller budget, because it's definitely a small budget movie, if you're going to make a movie on a smaller budget, especially one that's action heavy and stuff like that, you can do a lot worse aesthetically than looking like, a Skinamax Midnight movie. Because to give credit where credit's due, even though they were like softcore porn films during those times, like they put attention to them. Like they made the set pieces look at least decent, you know, like they actually gave somewhat of a shit about it. Whereas this movie, it's like half and half. Sometimes you're like, oh, they care. And then the other half, you're like, oh, I don't give a shit at all. All right.
Okay, kind of getting in here, we have the character of Cobra, played by Julie K. Smith. And I'm going to go on the record here. Back in the day, around this time, I thought Julie K. Smith was one of the most beautiful women in the world. And I'm recently friends with her on Facebook. So if she sees this episode, she's probably not going to be friends with me for too much longer. But she was the greatest thing in there. But I do have to admit, the opening...
Andrew, real quick, do you really think that she feels very precious about this movie? Like, really, honestly, I feel like if she watched this episode, she'd be like, you know what? They're kind of right.
Bro, we can only hope. But I'm dying to ask her straight off. Her opening number, she's dancing in this S&M gear on a pole with a dance that seems like it was choreographed by the 1970s TV Spider-Man.
Well,
that's a good way of putting it.
You see, the version that I watched, because Andy said that this movie is available for free on YouTube. So I went onto YouTube and I saw it. And there's a couple of very, very weird edits that seem to pop up. But we'll get into that a bit later. But for me,
it's because the YouTube version is not the uncut version, just so you know.
Yeah, but this thing went even further than that. And it's just like it had the credits. And then she was just there and just went, Cobra. And then it went to like the office scene. That's who does that? Just goes Cobra.
By the way, did you know that scene right there is actually better than the entire version of the Cobra Commander in the G.I. Joe movie that Joseph Gordon-Levitt played? Like, that scene right there is better. I don't know who the fuck made that decision to make him look like a burn victim Darth Vader during that movie, but this is better. Like, it's insane.
He's Darth Vader, though.
I mean, kinda.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about this movie, it throws out so many new characters. You have no idea what side they're working or who they're working for. We're not going to be able to get out of this without talking about Elvis Foo. Which I believe might be the most racist Chinese character since Mickey Rooney started.
You guys keep talking. You guys keep talking. I'll be right back.
Yeah, you got Gerald Okamura, who is who was just massively prevalent in loads of movies like this round about that time, and that it very occasionally popped up in stuff like Hot Shots Part 2, where he was the referee in the pit fight.
Oh my God, yeah, he was.
Yeah,
I know I'd seen him in a lot of martial arts films. I'm pretty sure he is the guy with the guns in the Big Trouble in Little China alleyway fight scene.
Yes, he is. He's there as well. But yeah, he pops up, and he is, like you say, like the worst possible Elvis impersonator. Outside of 3,000 miles to Graceland. But he is also this horrible Chinese stereotype that throughout the whole thing is spouting these Confucius-style nuggets of wisdom, and then just ogling boobs.
Yeah, it was a very baffling character, but I guess it does answer the question of what role won't Al Leong take?
Yes, that's true. That's true. Although I've said that, talking about Al Leong, he never really tended to do much which required an awful lot of dialogue. He just needed to kind of stand there with a gun, kind of looking a little bit menacing. I think
did I miss a discussion on some incredible deep plot points of this movie?
Yeah, we were talking about Elvis Foo, and then we just rounded it out to that's basically a part that Al Leong wouldn't take.
Oh, yeah, okay. You know what? You guys covered that one for sure. That's about accurate.
Pretty much, yeah.
So obviously, for Jonas, and I guess for Steve as well, the main reason I saw this movie because Buff Bagwell was in this movie.
For all of about 30 seconds.
No, he's the main villain.
Yeah, but he shows up in like about 3 scenes, gets his ass beaten 3 of them, and then just spends the rest of his time just going, I'm in an ill-fitting suit.
That's all. That actually also explains his wrestling career for the most part. You know, I talk shit, but I actually liked Buff Bagwell during his time in WCW. He was that poor guy. He got so fucked when he moved to WWE for one night. Just for one night, he got completely fucked, and they were just like, "Oh, you are fired." All right.
Yeah, and he's had a lot of trouble. He's had a recent relapse, and he's currently in rehab at the moment. We wish well.
He is doing a lot better. He is doing a lot better in rehab, which is great.
Yes. We're hoping you're listening to this, Marcus, because I know you're on my Facebook. So we're hoping that you'll delve into this and maybe even come on the show to tell us some stories about Day of the Warrior and Return to Savage Beach as well. But the main thing
I do want to say this about Marcus Bagwell. One thing that is cool about him is that, like, I don't know if anybody follows him like recently, you know, before he'd went into rehab and stuff, is he has a great sense of humor, like about himself, about his career. Yeah. No, he does. He has a great, really good sense of humor about. He's very self-aware, and I'm team Buff Bagwell all the way. So I hope he gets everything straight.
Yeah, I mean, there are some things I would be dying to ask him on this film, like the reading the plot of a mirror. There is a scene where he is basically like either doing his war paint or he's cleaning his war paint up. You can tell he is reading a really complicated piece of dialogue off the mirror he is clearing his makeup off. And which is fine because he's got to talk about basically the entire plot of his character, which is, I mean, I love a villain that wears face paint and has frosted tips in his hair at the same time. You don't get that in a lot of movies. So his character is a Native American pro wrestling criminal mastermind. So
that is way too many descriptions for that part. That's way too many descriptions.
In this film, though, for nefarious schemes, he actually spends more time oiling himself than he does in any form of evil scheme in this movie. But
I have to mention this. Do you feel like Chris Chavez Tatanka saw that part and was like, what the fuck, dude? I'm right here. Like, do you feel like he saw that movie and he was just like, really? You didn't even call me? Like, this has been my entire thing the whole time.
Chris Chavez, he's never done any other role in his career. He's lived that role and he is still doing it now. I think he's at For Love of Wrestling soon as well, Steve.
Oh, he is.
We'll throw him some money,
dude. He is and will forever be Tatanka. Like, I love that they bring him back like every 6 years, and they're like, you know what, you're gonna wrestle for like 6 months on TV, and then for some reason you're gonna get fired. I don't know why. Like,
once you realize you've only got 2 moves,
right?
I love the fact that the character of Warrior is into so many terrorist acts like diamond theft and all stuff like that, but they also throw in the fact that he pirates porn movies.
No, that was weirdest detour that the movie took.
To be fair, in 1996, that was a particularly evil act. Like, today, you can accidentally pirate a porn movie just by clicking on the wrong thing by 1 letter. But in 1996, like, you had to fucking try. Like, you had to really try to pirate porn films.
I just see all of these different areas, and at one point I sat up and said, holy shit, he's Cobra Commander.
Yeah.
So basically, if you have a G.I. Joe cartoon, Cobra Commander had some of the worst schemes in the world, including the one where he made the Dreadnoks become a rock band to basically hypnotize the youth of America.
Yeah, but did he ever want to pirate pornography though?
Dude,
I've had a wonderful idea.
Have you seen Cobra Commander? You know that he pirates porn. Like, come on. The fuck do you think he's doing underneath that hood? Come on.
Going to bankrupt the porn valley outside of Los Angeles.
I bet he runs that infamous warehouse out in the valley that houses all of the porn in the world.
Oh, are you talking about the Kink Castle that's out in the San Francisco Valley?
I didn't know that, Jonas, but now I do.
Yeah. There's a place called the Kink Castle that's from kink.com. I'm assuming not a sponsor, guys. I'm just gonna throw that out there. But no, they have an entire place called the Kink Castle, and it's their headquarters, and it is legitimately a castle full of sex toys. It is wild. One of my good friends used to be the tour guide there, and she has the best fucking stories ever about that place.
You wouldn't know really where to sit down, would you?
No. You never know what's going to be on that seat. And I'm not talking DNA here. I'm talking about actual apparatuses. You have no idea what's going to be on those things.
So, do you have an address on that? We can throw out that to anyone in the San Francisco area. No, I mean, I love Buff Bagwell in this. He's actually giving probably one of the better performances out of the entire cast. And that includes the 2 Penn and Teller style goons that are, was it computer whizzes or whatever they are, that are also henchmen.
Yeah, who have that magnificent talking about how their stocks are performing scene. that goes on for about 5 minutes, where they just detail every single stock investment they've made and how it's gone horribly wrong. And it's not just kind of like we need to do something fast. All our investments have tanked. It's like, okay, no, we need to do crimes because our investments in Silicon Enterprises has dropped down 13.2%. And if you compare that against our Southern portfolio, and it just goes on and on.
Until Cobra Commander comes in like, you should invest in crypto.
Yes.
Yes.
Wait,
Tell
are you
Max,
Elon
Zaymar,
Musk?
you're boring.
No, I'm not Elon Musk.
You got to invest in Cobra Coin. That's what you got to do.
They should have just named those characters Tomax and Zaymar and made them twins.
Yeah.
His
Would have been
shitty
perfect.
ponytail and his buzz cut. But
God damn it! Now I want Julia Strain to play Baroness. That's what I want. I want that movie in my timeline. It'll never happen now, but
this could actually be a secret G.I. Joe movie we do not know about.
oh fuck, it could be.
You have to
Oh my
reevaluate
god,
it.
what if that's the timeline we're in? What if that it is? They were just like, no, dude, we sold the rights to it.
Tomax and Zaymar are setting up a fake porn shoot. So that basically
Hasbro is going to watch this episode and be like, you're shitting on our greatest movie. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your greatest movie was G.I. Joe the movie. All the stuff you made afterwards was terrible.
Battleship. Yeah, that was a good idea.
So the fake porn shoot, where you basically have the male and female Scorpion and whatever his name is.
Sub-Zero. Come on. Keep
Yeah,
it going.
it's probably a Sub-Zero.
Scorpion and Rainbow Dash. I don't know.
Yeah.
Scorpion displays all of the acting masterclass of a game show hostess on a local TV network. The way she walks in front of the camera is almost like a game show hostess that would be with Bruce Forsyth back in the day. Play your cards right. Would stand there. I'm expecting it to like start showing off the prize.
I love the scene before then though, where they're saying, okay, we need to go down to this studio where we have to pretend to be porn stars, and her male colleagues are going, yeah, let's get ourselves ready. And then it just starts like thrusting in front of the
like the driest air fucking ever. Like there's not even a bit of moisture in that. Like it's just the driest. What's even more crazy is that this film has actual adult film stars in it, and like this whole scene is just a catastrophe for people that are in that fucking business. Like they could have walked on scene and be like, dude, no, like what are you doing?
Well, this is where it gets back to what you were saying. This feels like it should be a softcore porn film. It feels like there should have been a proper, like, 5-minute long boinking sequence between those two in the middle of this movie.
The fact that you called it boinking is going to sit with me for the rest of the day.
We haven't even covered here the extensive range of other villains that we have. So we have Manuel, whose acting ability is the most questionable out of a movie of bad acting ability. Or as my fiance said, it looks like if you ordered John Morrison out of Wish.
Oh, I love John Morrison, but his movies are terrible.
So
I do love John, but come on.
Yeah, his accent was just it was the least convincing Spanish accent that I've heard in a very, very long time.
I love that they took this movie and they had people that had certain races, and they were just like, no, fuck that. We're hiring people that are exactly not that. Like, that's what they did with everybody that needed to have any kind of a race that was, not white. They were like, listen, I know that there's probably a bunch, there's probably a whole lot of Spanish people in Texas or wherever the fuck it is they actually filmed this. They're just like, we're going to get the worst. Let's do that. Let's get the worst accent possible.
Yeah, but then you end up then with them compounding that when you do look at people like Gerald Okamura, who's coming in, he's an Asian actor, and then they just ramp him up to just like the worst possible Chinese stereotype that you could possibly go for. Like, there's nothing in between. There's no levels of subtlety. He's just proper in there. Confucius say, "You do this." That kind of level.
Yeah, he was a walking Fu Manchu mustache. Like, that's, which sucks. Like what the fuck are you doing? Come on. Like,
there's a entire scene here shot on Rodeo Drive that you can tell had no permits to shoot on Rodeo Drive, because it is the most obvious camera in a bag style of directing,
which I do love sometimes. I do love sometimes,
and I have done that myself.
Yeah.
But
I want to tell you a side story on this, just because you brought up the camera in the bag situation. Awesome horror director Larry Fessenden.
Oh yeah, Larry, yeah.
Yeah. He did the movie Depraved, which is his Frankenstein movie, which was filmed all in New York. It was filmed in New York. It was a micro budget type of thing. Not Depraved, Deranged. It's called Deranged. But he filmed a scene in the Met with a camera in a bag. But what's hilarious is that he filmed the scene while the dude that played Frankenstein was in his full Frankenstein makeup. So he had to do it fucking quick. Like super quick, because like if I remember correctly, when he was doing the Q&A, I think it's illegal to film in the Met, like without permits and everything like that. So they just fucking went in there guerrilla style, filmed the scene for like 30 seconds, and they got the fuck out of there. Like, and he was talking about it because he said as soon as we walked in there, and as soon as like one person noticed that this dude was in Frankenstein makeup, they were like, wait a minute, there's something fucky going on here, and they gave him side eye, and they were like, oh, gotta go.
Now, you see, if that was Hollywood Boulevard, no one would question that shit.
No, God, no.
Because when I used to travel on the Metro, on the Gold Line, to then switch over to the Red Line, going to meetings in LA, you would see all of the costume people for Hollywood Boulevard would be getting trained. So it's the only time you'd see fucking Batman get on there.
Oh, yeah.
I saw 2 Spider-Mans fighting.
Over who gets to sell their CD.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. We see that in New York and Times Square a lot. You'll see an Elmo get in a fight with a Wolverine, but the Wolverine is like in that it's in the suit that has like the fake muscles in it that are made of like mattress foam.
Yeah.
So like you'll see this actually pretty fat Wolverine getting in a fight with with an Elmo.
All the while the naked cowboys just watching on. Yeah.
Strumming along. And the thing that's funny about LA is if you get anywhere near the Chinese theater, you can see all sorts of knockoff properties get in a fist fight. It's so fun to watch. It's just like, oh, they didn't make enough money to not fight today. That sucks.
Okay. Are we actually going to touch on the exploding owl?
Oh, that thing. That was they could have done so much with that. They could have got some stock footage of an owl, or they could have got like an actual taxidermied owl, and maybe rotated it. Maybe have even got in touch with someone at an aviary and got a genuine owl. They could have done so many things other than what they did, which was just go down to the nearest toy shop and buy just the shittiest kid's owl that you could possibly imagine, and then stick a broom up its ass.
Okay, that's accurate, but to be fair, it could have been worse. And I say that because I've seen the movie Birdemic. Okay, so you could have been worse.
I think I probably would have gone with the CG plugin instead of whatever the hell that thing was.
That was adorable that you called Birdemic Birds CG, because that's not what that was. That was clip art that was put on a fucking screen. That's at least they had the forethought to go down to a store and give a likely local business some money and be like, you know what, we need a toy owl that we're going to explode. We need that. So here's $5 or whatever, you know.
I can just picture them just going up to some poor old lady whose pet owl has died and going, yeah, we're going to need this now. What are you going to do with it? Oh, we'll take it to a good home.
We're going to make sure he doesn't hurt anymore. Then she has to see this movie and be like, that's what they did to my baby.
Oh my God, I'm watching this movie. Ah!
Fucking dude, the exploding owl actually is one of my favorite parts of it, just because out of the rest of it, like the rest of the movie, just like you can see that they at least tried to do certain things. This one, they just didn't give a fuck. They were just like,
Yeah,
we don't care if it's a toy. We don't care. There's like, we're not even going to try to hide the fact that it's this.
Yeah, and Manuel's lady, she is just got such a hard on for that owl and its destruction. Yeah, she's just got it in for everything in that movie, hasn't she? There is nothing in that film apart from Manuel himself that she's got any kind of time for, because everything is like, you bastard, you, fuck you, I'm gonna do fucking owl.
To be fair, it's probably because she has to fuck Manuel and hear him with that accent the whole time. I'd be pretty mad. I'd be pretty mad at the world too. If that was the cards that I was dealt in life, I'd want to kill everything around me too. I'd just be pissed off the whole time. Fuck that owl. Bang.
Later at the end, though, when she gets the chance to actually kill someone, she doesn't do it. She just like hides behind the door, and he thinks she's going to properly whack someone. She just looks them in the face and just goes, tap. And then
Bonk.
they just go spark out.
Somebody should recut this movie and they should put Batman television show sound effects into a lot of the things, because they would fit perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Zip, bang, biff, whack.
And then just tell the character names.
Yeah, it's true. Every
Penguin,
time
the
one of the guns, this is also something that I noticed throughout the whole movie, and I thought it might have been because the length that I watched was like a little off center, or like, you know, a little off, whatever you want to put, like it wasn't synced up properly. But like a lot of times when they shoot the guns, like the sound does not go along with the actions that the gun is shooting. Like it just, the sound engineering on it was just dog shit. It was like a dude woke up hungover and he was like, I got some fucking gun sounds for you, and just like threw it on there, and it was they don't even fit, guy. They don't.
Is that like the scene when she takes his like walking cane, whatever it is, and turns it into a fucking blow dart gun and explodes the place with it? Nothing can be said.
No, nothing can be said.
That was such a beautiful sentence for like 90s action movies. He stole his walking cane and then turned it into a blowgun that blew everything up.
It's not even as if he said, "Oh, I've got this walking cane that can be used as a thing." No,
she just knew that.
She just knew it. She just takes it off him, twists the end, puts the dart in, and then all of a sudden there's a trigger on it. It could have been his granddad's for all he knew.
Maybe there was a part cut out. Like maybe it's in the whoever the director is of the, maybe it's in the Sidaris cut where it's just like, oh no, that was actually her walking cane from a long time ago. She's like, oh fuck, I found it. That's my blow dart gun. That's my blow dart cane.
Yeah, I've not seen this since I was 15 years old.
Hopefully there's still one in the chamber.
But it does play back to an earlier scene where she explains that everything she holds in her hand explodes.
Yeah. As soon as you said that, the sax music that played whenever there was any woman on screen just popped into my head.
Did you rewind that quite a few times?
Yeah.
Also, that's why there's a particular lack of hand jobs in the movie. So this is why that whole softcore porn angle that you were talking about, it's why it doesn't exist. That's why, because everything she puts in her hand explodes, and you can't show that in an R-rated movie.
That also has a downside, though. Can you imagine what it'd be like when they were actually making love? Next thing you know, he just explodes. He just this fireball of viscera.
Yeah, I mean, listen, don't kink shame people. Whatever they're into.
It would be like something out of Mortal Kombat, wouldn't it? Oh,
yeah.
I feel like if there's gonna be a sex scene that's directed by Brian Usna, it's that sex scene.
Yes. No wet patch, just a little pile of soap.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, actually, if it's Brian Usna, it's gonna be a lot of wet parts.
And a face coming out of the anus.
Exactly. Yeah. And Steve's just like, really, what are we talking about here now?
It's a movie called Society. It will come on What's in the Box at some point. Trust me.
Yeah, if you've never seen Society, I can't wait for Steve's reaction to the shunting.
When that one comes on, Jonas, you're joining us just to see the pure look of terror on his face.
Oh yeah. Oh man, Steve needs to be baptized by Yuzna. He needs to see the catalog. Definitely
Yes.
Society though.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm slightly scared now.
He's one of the godfathers of body horror, and it's beautiful. It's because he loves the wet, gross things, and he puts those in all of his movies. So it's fun.
Okay.
It's truthfully fun horror.
So we kind of covered this a little bit earlier on, but this movie really spends a lot of time on a how to load weapons angle, because you don't just see a simple reloading of a weapon. It goes into great detail to show you how these weapons are loaded.
Badly. We should put that part.
Very badly.
Yeah. If Arlie Ermy was alive and saw those right now, he would go full Metal Jacket and just like scream at them.
This made Dale die so angry he went and bombed a village.
Oh fuck.
But not only that,
I'm not even a gun guy, and even I know that they fucked up on that a lot. Like,
yeah. I mean, they this happens a lot in movies where people shoot more than the number of bullets that are in the gun.
All the time. It's
been happening for ages. Except in this movie, I don't even think the word reload was ever in any of their vocabulary. Because you've got like you've got like one scene where the blonde guy reloads a revolver. That's it.
Just once.
The rest of the time, he's got infinite ammo. He's got the cheats on.
Yeah, he's in God mode.
Yeah.
That's actually one of my favorite weapons to see never reloaded is a revolver, because it's like there's no way to like skate around that. It's like, dude, revolvers don't have 18 bullets. Like, what are you doing? Like, you didn't even step off screen to fucking reload that thing. You've just been shooting the whole time. They don't even care. Because like the ones that have like a magazine, like you can at least get away with that. Like you can at least kind of be like, there was more bullets in there than you thought. You don't know about gun magazines. But a revolver, it's just like, it's right fucking there. Like you can't, there's no way to do it.
Yeah. Because I've seen videos of guys like Keanu Reeves did one when he was in training for John Wick 2, and he was on an obstacle course, and they were showing him with the rifle up, and as soon as he ran dry, then it smooth move, eject the cartridge, slam a new one in, cock the weapon, and get back to it. So you can do it in a pretty smooth move. But revolvers, no.
And see, if you're talking like John Wick, if you run out of bullets, you can just throw a hatchet at somebody's face and then jump on a horse and use that as a weapon. So it's just fucking great.
This is the kind of movie, though, that would take that scene in Hot Shots Part 2 where Charlie Sheen runs out of ammo and just throws the bullets at people. That is what would happen in this film.
Fuck, maybe this is a sequel to that. Maybe that's what it is. There's so many movies this could be.
This is purely a movie where Andy Sidaris is just showing off what he bought from the proceeds of his previous movie.
It's true, actually. That sounds very accurate.
It's like, I bought a speedboat. I bought this Ferrari. I bought all of these guns.
Yeah.
I bought all of these Playboy Playmates. And he has a fascination with planes taking off. In fact, the entire movie, I honestly think if you took out of all of the weapons being reloaded and all of the shots that show how people get to where they're going to, this movie would be 17 minutes long.
Yeah. One thing that he also put in there and seems to have a thing for are white vehicles. Because you say that he had a Ferrari. Okay, he shows off the Ferrari. It's a great shot. But then there's one bit later on where two of the agents are leaving the building, and it goes, which car's the Chief's? Oh, it's that white one over there. And then they pan to it, and there's just a row of white cars. And then you suddenly realize, oh, wait, all of the other vehicles in this movie are white to some degree. The Jeep at the very beginning, white. The cars that they go to the porn set in, they're white. They're all white cars.
Which is the most non-camouflage vehicle in the existence of non-camouflage vehicles.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to be driving any vehicles around any kind of, I guess you can call it a war zone, inconspicuous, a white vehicle is not. Like,
no, not in the slightest.
No, it's kind of one of those movies that I think also, like you were saying about what Sidaris did, I think also, like, there's like vanity projects. I don't know if this is definitely not a vanity project. There's no way this is a vanity project if this was the final result.
Casting it if it was.
Right. And like, so this movie, it kind of felt like he played Supermarket Sweep, but it was for an entire strip mall. And then he was just like, now I got to make a movie with all the shit I bought. Like, it was such a random, just fucking assortment of things in this movie that are just like, there's like 4 different movies going on at one time here.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so I've got this gold plastic Buddha. Now, what can I do with this?
It's like, quick, it's Legends of the Hidden Temple. I need to get a child to put these 3 pieces together.
I think he just walked down the center aisle of Aldi and just took everything.
Yeah, there's nothing brand name at all. It's just fucking just a bunch of Aldi stuff. That's why the revolver has so many bullets in it. It's off-brand.
Steve, I know that you have noted some other points down here that I have forgotten to mention today. What have we got?
Oh God! Well, one thing that I would like to mention is the main bad guy.
Bagwell?
No, the main bad guy played by Ted Pryor.
Is that the guy who looks like a mixture between Patrick Bateman from American Psycho and Willem Dafoe?
Yeah. He does a better job of actually being a bad guy than Buff Bagwell does, because Buff Bagwell, to his credit, he's not an actor; he's a wrestler, and he does what he does well. But most of his scenes involve him fighting with someone, and there's that whole scene with him,
the wrestling match,
the wrestling match, which you were talking about She-Hulk. That She-Hulk at that wrestling match.
Oh yeah.
But then you've got Ted Pryor as the undercover agent in Lethal, and he is just the most obvious mole that you can ever possibly see. He looks permanently constipated throughout this whole thing, with that bad guy kind of, yes, I'm up to evil schemes, but no one can know this. Kind of look about him. And
it's like when a 35-year-old shows up in a high school, you're like, you're a fucking narc. You're not you're not a senior.
So do all the kids still do marijuana?
I brought some Quaaludes, children. Like, get out of here, old dude.
I loved
Nobody
him.
Nobody even has those drugs anymore. Who are you?
Wait, are you living in the 80s still? What's going on? Yeah, I thought he was a much more intimidating bad guy than the Warrior. You know, I thought the Warrior was even the fact that he was doing wrestling and everything, he was too flamboyant. He didn't have any kind of nastiness really about him. He like hit one guy over the head, kind of knocked him out. Then the rest of the time he's up to some wacky stuff.
Yeah, but no one really dies in this movie, especially from explosions that would burn you to a crisp. You just come out looking like Daniel Stern in Home Alone when he touches the electric tabs.
Yeah, that's the other thing as well. The 2 henchmen, they get blown to pieces, and yet they're just stood there with blackened faces and the hair and the strategically ripped clothes to show that there's just
soot. Soot. It's because they went to one of those really shitty fireworks stands that doesn't sell actual fireworks. They just sell smoke bombs and snakes. And they were just like, we got to the bad one. Damn it.
Run by the guy with 3 fingers and an eye patch.
They bought fireworks on the 5th of July. Yeah.
Yeah, they won't let me sell the real stuff.
No.
Now, also the wrestling match was such a random thing Like it was so randomly placed, and it was like, do you guys remember the game Final Fight?
Yeah. Of course, yeah.
Okay, so you remember in Final Fight when all of a sudden you're fighting a dude in a wrestling ring with a sword, and you're like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, why are there ropes? That guy has a helmet and a sword. What is going on? That's how random that felt in this movie. It was just like, what the fuck? All right. Like
that had to be a request from Marcus. Is there any way that when you kind of look at this movie, every single character has their own little thing that they seem to be an expert at? Like the one guy does the rollerblading along like Venice Beach, and he's and
why didn't that guy die?
You know, all of them seem to have these little kind of specialties, which was the reason why they probably got the job.
The rollerblading guy's specialty was being an asshole. That's what that was.
Yeah, dude. Look at all the bibs, man.
Take your wheels and get the fuck out of my face. Get out of here.
I think this was before that instantly rollerblade killing joke came out. Like, what's the worst thing about rollerblades? Was it admitting to your parents you're gay? And then everybody just completely dropped rollerblades the next week when that joke came out.
I will say this, obviously Louis C.K. had all of his problems and everything, but he has a joke about a rollerblading guy where he was like, I was walking my dog down the street and a guy rolled by me in rollerblades with long flowing hair, short shorts, and no shirt on, and I had to pause my day to hate that guy. Like I had to stop. He's like, I had to stop walking my dog and be like, God damn it. I know that guy exists now. Like he's like, I had to concentrate on hating that guy when he flew past me with his hair waving in the wind. He's like, you piece of shit. Well,
speaking of hair, his mate was the exact opposite. His mate had that, and this is only
the Seagal ponytail.
Yeah, with the bald hair.
Yeah. It's a skullet tail.
Yeah, skullet tail. That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's the Paul Heyman special. But it was when he was Pauly Dangerously, if we're being clear here. Like, as Paul Heyman, he's cut off the ponytail, but Pauly Dangerously rocked that skullet tail like a fucking boss.
Oh yeah.
He rolled around ECW with that thing, just not giving a shit. It was great.
There is one line though that I would like to bring a little bit of attention to. And this just kind of broke me when it came on. I think it was the bit where they were driving around and they're trying to. I think they were Willow and Foo were searching for something, and they're driving around, and then they come to one area and go, this used to be a sleepy little town, and now look at it, you're in Vegas.
Dude, fucking Henderson, Nevada is not even a sleepy little town.
Yeah, you're in goddamn Vegas.
Maybe it was okay. Listen, there's multiple places actually named Vegas and named Las Vegas. So maybe it was Las Vegas, New Mexico. Maybe it was. We don't know. We don't know for sure. It's like saying I'm gonna take you to Paris, honey, and then you go to Paris, Texas. It's like, yeah, you piece of shit. Why you fucking bamboozled me is what you did. Like you took me to the wrong one.
I'm gonna take you to the Sand Dune Casino.
Right.
Take you to Augustus's palace.
We're gonna take you to the Fool's Golden Nugget. That's what it's gonna be.
And to the Trump Taj Mahal. Oh shit.
Boom, boom, boom. I love that in Atlantic City, New Jersey, they basically just demolished everything that had Trump's name on it. They're just like, listen, even we fucking hate this guy. And they just destroyed everything.
Oh god.
I love the one of the because Florida have had all of this hurricane recently, and someone put a meme up the other day that genuinely made me piss myself laughing. And it was a picture of the hotel that Donald Trump is living in, I guess nowadays.
Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah. And what was the name of the hurricane? Hurricane Ian, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It said, you had one fucking job, Hurricane Ian. One fucking job.
One job. You had one job. You know, it's kind of funny doing stand up during that period of time. It was one of those things I never like to approach because I usually don't approach politics in my humor. But I was doing a joke during his presidency because in New York City they had an art installation. It actually happened in multiple different big cities where they put a Trump statue in the middle of one of the biggest areas of New York City, Union Square, and it was fully naked and it had a micro penis. And people would go and take pictures like next to the micro penis, and they would be like throwing up like peace signs and shit. And it was just like, it was hilarious. And I remember during that time, I was like, I hope that statue is accurate because I don't want that guy walking around the White House with big dick confidence on top of how crazy he is. Like, I hope that he has just the tiniest dick in the world. I hope every time he goes to like nuke something, he gets like some bully in the back of his head that's like, you have a tiny dick. And he's like, I can't hit the button. Like, I hope that was the case.
I don't think he's Lyndon Johnson somehow. No.
You don't think he's rocking a Milton Berle?
No, I don't think so.
Sunroof?
No. One thing that I would like to touch on as well, because I think we're getting into kind of like the dregs of this now. There's the one moment where the two agents are staking out the Warriors compound, and the best double
that
take.
You call it a compound.
The compound in inverted commas, and it's the best double take in the entire film. Where they see the digger that is almost on top of them, that neither of them heard coming. How could you miss it?
Oh, fuck.
You can tell that you ask how could they miss it, but then you realize, oh wait, because the sound engineer hadn't mixed up the sound of the engine properly in it yet.
Right, it's like I had the boom mic cover on wrong, so I'm sorry, you guys. You just couldn't hear it coming the whole time. You feel like the sound engineer got yelled at in the back, like, dude, really? You couldn't even mic that one up? Like, they're just like, nothing the whole time.
But the main issue that this movie has got more than anything else is it spends so long establishing characters and establishing the scenes that it fails to actually connect those scenes to the main plot of the film. Like, it establishes a diamond and then they get stolen. Then those diamonds disappear completely until right at the very end. You want to know what happened to the diamonds? What was the importance of having the diamonds? Why are there diamonds? No, there's diamonds there so that a diamond dealer can get killed by the killer that then has to go after Cobra.
There was like 4 different villainous schemes going on at this parallel to each other. It was almost like there was 3 different movies playing at the same time.
Yeah.
And they didn't know what maybe they were just shooting 3 different movies and then just paste them all together, because you had the diamond heist, you had the computer mainframe being hacked so that all of their agents would be discovered. And the question I raised then is like, hang on a minute, the boss of the agency doesn't even know where their agents are. How are these guys going to find? There's a good portion of the movie trying to find their own agents. I've got to kind of question that division.
Yeah, it's an obvious one, but then again, I don't really think you come into a movie like this expecting it to make a huge helping of cohesion.
I legitimately don't remember a plot.
No,
and I wish I was talking shit when I say that, but I don't. I don't remember.
Sorry.
I don't remember any plot to it at all. Like the diamond thing, I remember that being there, but it's kind of like, okay, like, all right, there's nothing. Like I have no lasting memory of anything that has a cohesive plot line whatsoever in this movie, and I watched it less than 24 hours ago. Like, what? This is the thing. I've seen it twice now since you've mentioned it to me for this show, because I usually have to watch a movie twice to retain stuff. This movie actively made me not retain things. Like, I don't know how it happened, but this movie was like, no matter how hard you try to understand me, it's not going to happen.
When a movie is harder to get to grips with the Memento, you know there's a problem.
Oh fuck. That's
Yeah.
what, that's true.
And
I feel like Mother was more cohesive than this movie.
that's a good point to bring up. But the strange thing about it is you're totally engrossed in it, even though you have no idea what's going on. And it feels just like a whole bunch of stuff that is tacked together with no thought of how it's going from A to B. It feels like they were just, let's just go and shoot something. And when we get to where we're going, whatever is there will make it work. Right. And I'm now interested in seeing it again for the G.I. Joe parable. But I know this is a thing that I will end up watching again and still enjoying, even though I have no idea what is going on with it.
I enjoyed every second of the movie.
Yeah.
And now that you bring up the diamond thing again, I think it's actually a prequel to Uncut Gems. And that's actually the diamond that they it's the diamond that's up Adam Sandler's ass in the beginning of that movie.
Well, I think that may be the case of the guy when Cobra goes to Rodeo Drive and she walks into that place, into the back office with that guy. That actually could be Adam Sandler.
It could be. This could be a Happy Madison production. We don't know.
And then I want to know exactly. I still don't know who the guy in the balaclava who just casually walks around the shelving and shoots him in the head.
I feel like that has to be somebody that is in Sidaris's inner circle. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a James Franco, Seth Rogen situation where, like, if you're watching either one of those movies, one of those dudes just may show up in the background and be like, "Oh, he was the one with the beard on his face. That was James this time," or something. It's got to be just his friend.
I'm just hoping that's the person who won the Day of the Warrior sweepstake, and it was like, right, you get a role in the movie, put this balaclava on, and walk really unconvincingly around the shelving units to shoot this guy.
He was also the same one that tried to kill Cobra a couple of scenes later.
I complete the guy who looks like Paul Giamatti.
Yeah.
I totally forgot that character was in it.
Yeah, he's the same person.
There's so many characters in this movie. You forget ones that just show up and then get disposed of with no logic of who they are. I don't know who that guy is now to this day, or what he played into the plot at all, other than the fact that he would just go and shoot people.
I wish it was Paul Giamatti, just so you could be like, "Oh, look at that pig vomit tried to kill Cobra."
Yeah. That would have been a great way. Now, how did you start your career? Well, I was in an Andy Sidaris film and I had to wear a balaclava for most of it.
And then I played Rhino in Spider-Man. Oh,
which is more embarrassing.
They didn't call me back for No Way Home.
No.
Listen, what's funny about Paul Giamatti is that when you look at his career, he's got some amazing movies, just incredible films and incredible parts. And then Rhino, and then Lady in the Water. Like, you're just like, what the fuck happened there? Like you weren't hurting for work, dude. Like, somebody was just like, "Here, we have a piece of shit script for you." And he's like, "Fucking sweet." Like,
who do you owe money to, Paul? Tell us.
Right.
Who did you lose a bet with?
Show me on the bank account where it touched you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The thing is, if he would have looked at the comic book character of Rhino and then looked at his own physique and go, "How is this working? Oh, we're going to give you a giant robot rhino suit. I'm in."
We're like, "Okay, listen, you're going to be Krang, but you're going to be a rhino." Like, and then everybody in the writer's room pulled out a gun and killed themselves as soon as they said that.
Yeah, it was a single gun and there were 18 people there. It was a revolver.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They just passed it around. They were like, "Just, no, your turn."
Yeah. No, I've got the infinite ammo cheat. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. No big deal. In fact, you'll come back later. We're going to have regeneration in there too. It's going to be awesome.
God damn it.
But
this movie definitely did feel like a low budget Call of Duty video game put to a movie screen. Like, just, it was one of those things where it was just like, it's like one of those first person shooters that's glitched. So you just start going around just shooting random shit. Like, I don't know why that rock exploded, but fucking cool. Like,
Oh God, when was it now? There was I think it might have been for Duke Nukem or something like that. There was a parody game of Call of Duty made, and it was called Duty Calls, and it was a short demo thing, and it just Bulletstorm, that was it. Bulletstorm.
Oh yeah. Bulletstorm's a real game.
Oh no, Bulletstorm's a real game, but they made like a parody of Call of Duty and all of that stuff. That was just like a short 1-level demo thing that you could download on PC, and it was just mocking all of the tropes that you could possibly hope to find in a Call of Duty title up to that point.
I feel like if it was called Duty Calls, that had to be a game where you were fighting your way through a battlefild to find a toilet so you didn't shit your pants.
Yeah,
that would be. I would play that parody game all day long. It would just be great.
Well, you can use the shed that they use as the little hideout in this, couldn't you?
You could, but if it's too powerful, it might explode. So you just got to be careful. That's how everybody knows. It's like, dude, he ate the bad fish. The shack exploded.
Yeah. Who does number 2 work for?
Okay, so in closing out on Day of the Warrior, because I have tortured you both enough this week, and Jonas tried to get out of it by literally like falling off a curb or whatever.
I tried to break my ankle and it just sprained. Fucking bullshit.
I think I could just imagine you just looking at the trailer of this going, oh fuck, how can I get out of this?
Right. Yep. I was about to call Kathy Bates and be like, listen, I need you to do something to my ankles.
Get out the hot tub and come over here, please.
Yeah.
She'd be waking you up in the middle of the night because she's actually watched half of Day of the Warrior. And she just comes in with a sledgehammer.
Exactly. It's just like, well, I'm going to break these fucking things for real now.
So in trailing off on Day of the Warrior, I think there is so much enjoyment to have from it. And I spoke with Bill Daly last night and was amazed to find out that Bill Daly knows Andy Sidaris, or knew Andy Sidaris very well, because they worked at ABC together. And something that amazed me is Andy Sidaris has won an Emmy.
Oh, fuck.
Working for ABC, he was involved with ABC World of Sports or whatever it was. And
so not for scripted drama then?
Not for scripted drama, but apparently he is the person who came up with the cheerleader honey shot.
The what?
Jonas, do you know what the cheerleader honey shot is?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Are we back to softcore porn again?
Quite be, yeah. The cheerleader honey shot, from what I understand it, and I could be wrong, and anyone is welcome to correct me on it on all of our channels, is when you're watching, say, American football or something like that, you get the sweet shot of a cheerleader, a really sexy cheerleader. So he was the person who established that shot during football games.
So you're talking the shot that's from underneath, or are you talking the shot where, because there's multiple different quote unquote hot cheerleader shots that are like when somebody thinks of, like filming cheerleaders and stuff. There's the underneath shot, which is super creepy. And
Paul Verhoeven shot.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Oh yeah, thank you. But
it's all satire, I promise.
It's not really her vagina. So it's either that one or it's like the ones where they like close up on them and they look super hot. So it's one of the two.
I think you've broken Andy. It's okay. This is where the bugs all crawl out. Yeah.
Fucking Verhoeven.
I'm doing a German accent again. He's Dutch.
Yeah. Which is so great about it, because like that's also like if you watch Family Guy, they have a fucking great cutaway scene about Paul Verhoeven, and it is 100% not a Dutch accent, and it's like it's one of those things where it's just like no, it's kind of like what he sounds like. He sounds German Dutch, but more on the German side, which is very weird, and also his voice sounds like he's constantly blowing helium balloons, just like constantly, and I don't know why. I don't know why he sounds like that. Could you imagine him talking about showgirls in his voice and everybody just being like, it sounds like a great idea? Like, what?
Yeah, and then we get a girl who was in the Saved by the Bell, and she's going to be taking off all her clothes and going jiggy, jiggy, jiggy. It's going to be
fun. It's a Robin Williams.
Right, yeah, you did. You went, you vamped a little into Robin Williams there. He's like, no, this is going to be fun. We're going to fuck in the pool. We're going to do it like nobody has ever done.
Craig McLaughlin's going to be there. It's going to have a lovely time.
You'll flop around like a fish. It will be fun. This is the roast of Paul Verhoeven.
Your motivation, Elizabeth, you're going to be a ragdoll.
Oh.
And on that note,
no. Fuck me. I knew as soon as Verhoeven's name came up, I knew it was going to be a bad idea. It happens every time. Every single time we mention Verhoeven on the show. Some bad Verhoeven impression comes out.
It's impossible not to make fun of him. Like, I wish it was possible. It's not. Ha, everybody loves me.
It's
okay. I enjoy this movie, just so you guys know. I enjoy this movie in the same way that I enjoy The Room, which means that I will enjoy it forever. Like, it's one of those movies that, like, is it a catastrophic piece of shit of filmmaking? Yes. But it is so enjoyable in that sense, because it's one of those movies that's like, you know that it's bad. Like, on the fucking opening frame, you're like, this is gonna suck. Let's fucking go in, you know? And that's cool. That's great, you know? The Room was that way when it did a sweeping shot in San Francisco, and you're like, that's the Full House. Like, you fucking just used stock footage. You didn't even fucking film that. You're like, this movie's gonna be terrible. I love it.
I know. I really want to watch this film again with someone that's never seen it before while drunk.
That is the way I've always watched it. I introduced Kate to it, and she loves it because it is so terrible. And the thing about it, Andy Sidaris has done 12 of these films with the same actors in it. But the great thing about it is every one of them, when he does them, the main villain from the one movie comes back in the next one as one of the good guys, not even the same character.
Wow.
So it's just incredible. So Marcus Bagwell comes in the next one, which is Return to Savage Beach. And apparently he's the good guy.
Are you fisting me? That's the real name of the fucking movie?
Yes. It's a well-known sequel to the classic Savage Beach.
Girls of Lethal.
I would have respected that movie more if it was just Return to Savage Beast or Beach or fuck whatever you just said. If it was Return to that one and there was no first one. It's like, if there was no first one and it was just Return to Savage Beach, I'd be like, fuck yeah, let's do it. There's a horror movie called Dude Bro Party Massacre 3, and there is no 1 and 2. Those two movies do not exist, which means that part 3 is amazing. It's awesome.
Well, they did that with the Clerks cartoon series. The second episode featured flashbacks to episodes which hadn't even been made.
Oh, yeah. I still have the fucking animated series on DVD.
Yeah, so do I. I love that. That should have gone on for longer. That actually had quite a little bit of promise going on there.
I have to tell you this really quick before we wrap up. I am so much of a completist with my home media that I have the Jay and Silent Bob Do Degrassi DVD, and I hate myself for that. Every time I see it on my shelf, I'm like, why the fuck did you have to buy that? Why did you have to spend money on that to put it in your collection? Why did you do that? And then I went all the way back in the View Askew-niverse, and I bought like every single fucking movie that anybody involved with the View Askew thing. This was during my cocaine days, but I bought every single one of them. And the one that I will say is the one that I am really happy that I found. It's called A Better Place. And if you've never seen it, it's an indie film. And do you know which one I'm talking about, Andrew?
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. This is basically, if it's the one I'm thinking of, A Better Place, I could be wrong here. Is this the one that is basically like the bicycle thieves? It's the Spanish father and son who have their truck stolen.
Okay, so yes, but this is okay. So the movie is actually it's from the first. It's basically the first movie that was technically as a View Askew movie,
Right.
but it had nothing to do with Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith didn't do anything with it aside from the fact that he just put it out on the label. But the guy that directed it is Vincent Pereira.
Yep.
Which I always fuck his name up, I think. But he's awesome. Like I'm friends with him on Facebook, so then I'm sorry if I fucked your name up. But he's awesome, and he's doing a movie now. He's writing the script for a movie now that I cannot wait for him to actually film, called The Back Scratcher. And it's the only other movie he's never made another movie aside from A Better Place. And so it was one of those ones that I randomly found on DVD because I was like, I got to complete this fucking collection. And then I watched the movie and it's awesome. Like for a movie that's made for a micro budget, I'm telling you, man, if you're somebody that's into indie film or like watching how an indie film is made, seek that movie out and watch it because it really shows what you can do to make a really gritty, awesome movie for a very low budget.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, it's cool stuff.
All right. Well, I think we've touched on pretty much everything that we can touch on legally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Within the scope of Day of the Warrior. So I just want to do two things. I want to thank Jonas for joining us once again on this on these video podcasts.
Happy to do it.
Yes, and I want to say a big up yours to Andy for making me watch this movie in the first place.
So before we go, Jonas, what have you got coming up? Obviously, you've got the podcasts.
Yeah. Another goddamn horror podcast is where you can find me if you specifically want to do some horror stuff with me. That's at AGHP666 on all the platforms. Also, our link tree is linktr.ee/AGHP666, and that sends you to where all of our stuff is. And then as far as comedy goes, in Bushwick, Brooklyn, every fourth Thursday of the month, 7 p.m. at the Tiny Cupboard. That is our Traumedy Hour live show. And that basically is just, it's a showcase of dark, very real subjects that we do comedy about. So we make all the fucked up things into funny things. So that's what we do every month.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you both for joining us. For you out there that's been watching this or listening to it, if you've got the audio version of this, don't forget you can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter at Poddywood. So get in touch with us because we want to hear what you think about what we've thought about this film. If you've seen, I know there's a lot to process there. But if you've seen
I understood the plot of Day of the Warrior better than I did you just then.
He was just doing Scott Steiner math. That's what that was. Fucking wrestling deep cuts on this one. I swear to God.
No, I wish I knew anything about wrestling. I really do.
You know what? The next time I think we need to get Lloyd Anoa'i and Glenn Ruth on this show with Jonas and just bust out on wrestling for an hour and a half.
God, there's plenty of wrestling movies you can talk about. Plenty.
Ready to rumble.
Dude, fuck that. No Holds Barred. That's the one that we need to talk about. If we're going to talk about a shitty wrestling movie, that's the one. Okay.
Okay. Well, in that case, we'll hold on to that one for next time then.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, you can check us out on at Poddywood, Facebook, Twitter, or you can follow us on our subreddit on Reddit. For now, though, it is a good night from me.
I'm sorry. It's the fucking Paul Verhoeven voices coming back into my head.
I was literally going to be like, and it's a good night from Paul Verhoeven.
Yeah. It's a good night from me. It's a good night from those two. We're going to have a lovely, groovy, sexy, funky time.
I love that he's doing Dutch jazz hands. I love it.
we're going to eat some schnitzel and have some pancakes. It's going to be great.
Paul, we're filming a movie tonight. No.
No, we have some sausage. We have some pancakes.
Oh, fuck.
I would love to have seen the behind the scenes footage of Paul Verhoeven and Arnold Schwarzenegger doing their audio commentary for Total Recall.
God. Jesus Christ. That would be such a fucking Mad Libs of a captioning. Everybody, like the people that are typing the captions for that would have to be on coke. They would just be like, I hope I'm doing it right. I hope.
It'll be that point where they're talking and you'll just see question marks come up on the closed captions.
Dutch music plays. It's just them talking. Like it's just.
And then the very last line is just the translator just going, "Fuck this! I'm not paid enough for this," and then that's it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, I genuinely have stars in front of my eyes from laughing then.
That next watch along might be Showgirls, by the way.
Dude. What a magnificent piece of shit that movie is.
Oh dear. I don't think I could last.
I heard the greatest story from a friend of mine, Robert Brown, as a producer, and he knew Paul Verhoeven really well.
Paul Hogan.
Yeah, Paul Hogan. Yeah, Paul Verhoeven really well.
That's not a pool. This is a pool.
Story goes. Premiere of Showgirls that night. So they're all watching the film, and Robert and that leave a bit earlier, and they're standing at the bottom of the stairs where everyone's coming out. And suddenly all the doors open and everyone's just walking out of there completely silent. And Paul Verhoeven comes up to him and says, well, what did you think? And Robert says, well, it was a film.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I'm glad you noticed. Yeah.
I feel now I can't get Paul Hogan on the set of Showgirls out of my head. He just walks in like, what are you doing? Nobody fucks like that.
Right. What? Then afterwards, we're going to have ourselves some sausages and some pancakes.
Struth, what are these? Watermelons? It's a club, not a patch, love.
Oh, dear Lord.
Anyway, right. we were signing off.
We were about 20 minutes ago. Oh, dear. Right. Well, if you want to get in touch with us about any of these issues raised in tonight's program,
or complain,
then you know where to get in touch with us. For now, though, I've been Steve Hester.
I've been Andrew Roger Carson.
I'm Jonas Barnes.
And we will see you next time. Goodbye.